We're at the Lost Sea Adventure. I dropped my warhead. I dropped it. I can't touch the ceiling.
Welcome to the Lost Sea. My name is Kyle, the tour guide today. Our tour will consist of a 3/4 mile round trip and a boat ride of 4.5 acre underground lake. On the way down to the underground lake, for the first half a mile, there will be a decline of 140 feet. And for the last quarter mile, there will be an incline of 140 feet with 3 rest stops along the way. Before we begin today, I gotta go over some rules with you also. Rule number 1, please stay on the trail behind me at all times. Parents don't allow children to run ahead. Number 2, no smoking or vaping inside the cave. Number 3, please do not litter. There are trash cans along the trail. And rule number 4, please do not touch, break, damage, or deface cave walls or formations. You'll end up with a fine of about $50 to $500. Does everyone understand? Yeah. Now as everyone's here, again we'll be looking at this area to the left over here. This area over here is called the Cascades. Now Cascades made out of 2 smaller formations. The one on the bottom, the melted wax looking one, is called flowstone. Flowstone is made out of calcium carbonate, which can be turned into rollades or tums. We also got the one above it, the curtain looking formation, the amberish brown one. That one's called drapery. Drapery is made out of iron oxide or rust, but we at the Lost Sea have another name for drapery. We call it cave bacon. When you look at it from the right angle, it looks like bacon. One of those rare instances where you have your bacon right next to your rollades. Keep that in mind, you might lean on the wrong one and end up halfway down a canyon. Just joking. With ears. Now that's a bit of a sad or depressing name, but if it's very close at the formation on the top, the stalactite, is dripping water onto the formation on the bottom, the stalagmite, giving off the appearance that they are in fact crying. Now a good way to tell the difference between a stalactite and a stalagmite is the stalactite sticks tightly to the ceiling, and the stalagmite might one day realize his dreams of joining together with the stalactite. Spinning, bat guano, or bat poo. They threw the bat guano into the leaching vat with hot boiling water, and now will come this bucket down here, what they call mother's liquor. Now they wouldn't drink the mother's liquor, they'd throw it back into the leaching vat, then add potash lye to it. Now will then come a combination to the bucket that they called shot peter. Then send the shot peter off to refineries to be made into gunpowder. So anyway, the Civil War was fought with bat poo. Ew. As we continue on, there are some low-hanging rocks at the head, so watch out for them. But on the wall over there is a very important date of 1863. It is the oldest known date in the entire cave. It was left there from a Confederate shot. We then machine tested the date back and it came back authentic, so it is real.
Oh, right there.
Alright, well, welcome to the Hanging Rock Chamber. We call it the Hanging Rock Chamber because the bedrock pendants that hang from the ceiling. This room was formed millions of years ago from a whirlpool. The whirlpool was created from 2 still bodies of water meeting each other. One still body of water came from the pathway we came just now. The other still body of water came from this pathway here. Now once the 2 still bodies of water met, they created that whirlpool that chipped away at the limestone on the ceiling, creating the bedrock pendants we see before us today, and create the room that we're all standing in today. That's just the name they gave it. Now the eye of the whirlpool would have remained up here for so long, you could from the smoother, chipped away rock. Until eventually one day the whirlpool did calm down and drain through a number of tunnels that way. Going back up to this pathway here, that leads to the big room, the second biggest room we have access to, and the natural entrance. The natural entrance is roughly 132 steps at a 45-degree angle, so it's not even straight. And back in the 1940s, the big room was turned into a bar. This bar was called the Cavern Tavern. The Cavern Tavern was big up for 3 dance floors, 3 moonshot stills, and a live band on the weekend. Might sound like fun, but there is one small problem. Due to the atmosphere of the cave, you can drink 3 times the normal amount of alcohol than usual. Some people be in the Cavern Tavern thinking they're getting some bad liquor. They stormed up the 132 steps, not even straight, and the higher they got from steps, well, the higher they got. You see, halfway up the stairs, that atmosphere changes back to normal, and all that alcohol starts rushing through their system, and they get a really bad case of alcohol poisoning where they just pass out. And they take everyone out behind them like a giant game of dominoes. So after 2 short months, the Cavern Tavern was condemned and closed. Never stood a chance. Around the same time, an early explorer went up the big room in the late 30s and found a 90-foot deep pit. Wondering what was down this pit, he decided to rappel on down, and he found the skeleton of the Pleistocene jaguar. And when the Pleistocene jaguar was alive, it would have been at least 8 feet long, without counting his tail, and would have weighed roughly 500 pounds. Scarily, that's a small one. Today, we do not have the bones of the Pleistocene jaguar. We did donate it to the New York Natural History Museum, but we do have a plaster case of its paw and a replica of its head upstairs in the gift shop. Now, one more little tidbit of history about this room is in the 1950s and 60s, the hanging rock chamber in the big room were turned into a fallout shelter. Just in case if any natural disaster were to ever occur here, people have a place to stay and eat. We had enough food to cover that room and this room 3 times over. I was enough to feed 20,000 people for 2 whole weeks. Now, luckily, no natural disaster ever did occur, so we donated most of the food. What we did donate now lives down here. A bunch of 7-year-old saltine crackers and applesauce packets. Tasty. Now, something I want to show you off is called Total Darkness. I know it's going to be completely dark in here. We will be safe, so you can invite your loved ones or not so loved ones. It's just up to you. Got any more screams while lights are out? I'll scream with you and turn the lights to make sure it's not awkward. Watch out for that.
Can turn the lights off for a sec.
Is everyone ready? You sure? Yep. Alright, we're going to Total Darkness. 3, 2, 1. Alright, if you were to put your hand in front of your face right now, you wouldn't even be able to see it. You can't see your friend, family, you can't see the person beside you, the person behind you, the person in front of you. Alright, you just touch me. Now you can always see darkness like this in 2 places in the natural world, that being in a cave like this, another place being at the bottom of the ocean.
When is he going to turn the lights back on?
So what we think about, is it cool, is it not cool? Cool. Cool? Cool. Scary?
Very dark.
I can't see a single thing.
That's the point.
Now, the bad thing about remaining darkness like this for too long, say 2 weeks or 14 days, your eyes will be searching for light for so much that your retinas will completely burn out, causing you to go completely blind.
Oh, jeez.
Close your eyes.
On that note, I'm probably going to turn the lights off, so brace your eyes. The lights will be going on in 3, 2,
Close your eyes.
1. All good?
Did you close your eyes?
Right in the underground lake.
Yeah.
Follow me, keep up, I'll lead
Why
the
did
way.
it say-
Down there to the right is one of 3 or so moonshine stills from the Cavern Tavern. One being down here with us, one being across the street at the general store being used as a flower pot, and the last one was stolen. Now sadly, one down here is no longer active, so no free samples for the way back up. Now, enough jokes aside, this next part is the hardest part of the entire tour. It's up and down 14 flights of stairs, it gets very slippery, and there are some low-hanging rocks. I understand that some people have health conditions or problems that keep them from going up or down this next part. I do value your help from the boat ride. So if you need to stay back, let me know. This is the only way to get down to the boat ride and the underground lake, though. If you do need to stay back, we got some comfortable benches over here that you can wait for us on. Off the way about 20-30 minutes, you'll miss out on the boat ride and the underground lake. But if you're really thinking you stay back, then please do.
Wow.
Good to do something like that.
Ooh, it feels so neat, doesn't it?
It feels like rock.
It feels like a cold rock.
Now, the depths of the water here differ. It's like a swimming pool. The farther you go, the deeper it gets. Over here by the dock, it's 10 to 15 feet deep. Out in the middle, it's 30, 40 feet deep. At the way back is 60, 70 feet deep. We'll point out later on the tour. But before we begin, we gotta go over some boat rules. Number one, the dock is floating. As normal, just please watch your step. Rule number two, in between every boat there will be a gap. Someone will be holding the boat to less than the gap. Just please watch your step. We don't want you to end up in the water or hurt. Rule number three is do not stay up at any time on your boat ride. We don't want you to be thrown off the boat. If you do think you will be thrown off or get hurt, go ahead and grab one of your seat cushions. They come in red and blue. They can be used as flotation devices, so if any emergency occurs, try and grab one. Number four, rule is please hold on to all objects, such as phones, cameras, watches, flashlights, etc. Because if you drop them in the water, we are not legally able to get them, and neither are you.
The water is really here.
Oh my gosh. Believe that?
I really want to look and see if there's actually fish.
You'll probably be able to see. Yeah.
Get group two.
Group of two.
Robbie.
Get you all to finish off that side right there on the right.
And we'll get the rest of y'all on my boat.
So, while we're floating around, I'll go ahead and tell you all about our lovely little fish that are down here. So first off, they are not native to this lake at all. There was no natural life ever found down here. No plants, fungi, anything else. But the rainbow trout here were actually placed in as part of an experiment back in 1967. So we chose rainbow trout since they're pretty well acquainted with the high mineral count and the cold water temperatures, so this would be paradise for them. However, that was the problem. It was paradise for them, fed them every boat ride, so much like house guests, they decided to stay here a little bit longer, and they never found a way out, or rather, didn't want to find a way out, so we just decided to keep them as pets. I'll give you all something to look at, something for us to talk about. But we take very, very, very good care of them. They're fed every boat ride around 40 times a day here in July. We also keep these lights on virtually 24/7. So blindness is not an issue at all. They can see just about as well as we can in the dark, so they usually tend to stay towards the light, and they can still see just fine. Now you might be wondering about the biggest one we've ever found here. It'd be the one up in the lobby. Her name is Trevor, because we forgot she was a girl. But Miss Trevor, she was about 3 feet long and a little over 16.5 pounds when we found her. So basically toddler sized. Now, the fish on average start out about the size of the average palm of the hand, so they've got a pretty significant growth going on there. Now, we do have to restock the population ourselves every 3 to 5 years. Unfortunately, the floor is nothing but mud, and there are no currents down here in the lake, so the eggs will not be able to stay down there. They'll just float back up to the surface, and, well, they just happen to think anything that goes in the lake is food, no matter what size it is or what shape it might be, especially fingers. But now, before we get into the feeding grounds, this would be the location of our most recent scuba expedition back in 1973. See, the divers back then were just trying to see how big the room was. What they didn't expect to find was that about 40 feet under the surface, against that wall, there is an 800-foot-long tunnel, the length of this room. And at the end of that, there's another room at least twice as big and completely filled with water. So that also meant it was a prime location for rock slides if they weren't careful. thankfully they got right in and right out without causing any damage. They were very, very lucky to do so. So we figured we should probably just stay up here where for the most part it's safe. But you'll see why we say for the most part. So with that, we're just going to mosey right into the feeding grounds here. I'm going to go ahead and grab my bucket. Still got plenty of fish food. See, this is why I should be on boat duty, so we don't lose as much food. And they're still getting the recommended amount per boat ride. All works out. So let's start with a handful over here. And a little handful on that other side. One more little pinch. Should do. Alrighty, so I do hope you enjoyed the show with the fish having power they lack in stamina. This is all we can get them to do, unfortunately, but I have been teaching them how to jump out for my light, so let's give it one shot here. Let's see. Any jumpers? Nope. This is what rehearsal's for, fish. So with that, we'll just hang out right here for a minute, and I'll go ahead and tell you about the end of the room, which is over there. Now, right here where we're sitting, the water's about 55 to 60 feet. Back there and beyond with that low-hanging rock, that is 70 to 75 feet. And unfortunately, this is as far as I can legally take you. Physically, we could get back there. We just probably wouldn't be able to make it over here again. So, instead of heading towards certain doom, we're just going to head to the location of our most recent rock slide. Because that sounds safe and fun, right? Now, in this case, recent means 2,000 years ago. We just like to mess with everyone here. Now, the reason this rock slide occurred was actually because of the water level changing for possibly the first time in history. So normally back then, the room would have been completely filled. And then there's some sort of occurrence that happened that might have lowered the water, maybe a drought, perhaps the water froze, no telling which one, but either way the water level lowered and caused 3 huge stones up there to break right off and sink to the bottom. Each one weighed about 9 tons. So we're talking 27 tons in total, which would be the combined weight of every single piece of building equipment for a 2-story building. So we figured we'd just leave it there, you know, very feng shui. We love what it did with the place. But you won't really see any of it over here. I see one rock, maybe if you just barely squint over here this way, but you'll definitely see this stuff right here. This is some more of the iron oxide drapery, or the cave bacon if you saw it earlier. And this would not be able to grow here if the rock slide never happened. It needs a flat rock face to grow on. Now we also have lots of these little fellas up here. Now, they like to drip a lot, so just watch out. They will most likely drip on you, and they are the leading cause of pink eye in America. Now, these are called soda straw stalactites. With that name, it would imply that they are completely hollow, just like us tour guides. Now, you could use one like a straw, but we're still kind of talking about a $500 straw that makes your drink taste like rust. Maybe just the gift shop doesn't sound so bad, right? Now, if you happen to get dripped on, that is something called a cave kiss, believed to be very, very good luck. But it's also believed that somewhere up there, there's a building and a sewage system. I'll let you determine if that's a joke or not. But with all that being said, you can now say that you have ridden across the Northern Hemisphere's largest underground lake. Yay! Now the thing is, we're only allowed to count rooms we have fully discovered, one of the quirks that comes with owning caves. We can count this room, it's about 4.5 acres of water, but that other room that was found in the 70s, they never found the end of it to begin with, and it is still way too dangerous to go back down due to the risk of rock slides in that unstable chamber. So we're stuck in this weird loophole as the 2nd largest underground lake in the world. And if you're curious about number 1, that would be the Dragon's Breath Cavern in South Africa. And it's also a sulfur mine in the desert, so the atmosphere stinks there. So with that being said, we are the world's largest commercial underground lake. Which I don't know about you, but I'm pretty okay with winning by default. Feels pretty good. So with that, we're just gonna head back into shore. A pump system down here that can pump out around 100 gallons per hour or so. So usually it's maybe just a couple inches higher, maybe a couple inches lower. It's nothing too noticeable. Any other questions though? So get pulled back in. It is now safe to exit, so just watch your steps when exiting.
It might be talking about something like this.
Be careful.
This warhead's really sour.
Were those fish really cool?
Yeah, they were rainbow trouts.
That's an active stalagmite. It's called the bear paw stalagmite. You can give it a high five for good luck.
Because that's the wrong way.
Right.
Robbie,
What?
what'd you think of that? Did you like it?
Yes.
Tired? Now that you're done with that, what did you think of it?
Yeah.
Did you like that big lake underneath there?
Yeah.
All the fish that were swimming around?
Yeah.
The water was so clear.
I found the perfect place for an spear.
Robbie, over there it says the sweet shop. Should we go over there?
I want to get candy.
Let's look in here first, huh?
There's nobody in here.
This is what a blacksmith shop was like.
Not that much.
See, they
And
look at this huge bellows right here.
wait, oh, air would come out of here. Oops.
How'd you get there?
That's really sour.
So,
That's really sour.
do you think you like it?
You try.
No.
You want?
Yuck.
Try the warhead.
Gross.
That's really sour.
You got a whole bag full to eat.
I know warheads are sour. Oy. Oy.